If you're a Maple Leafs fan, casual or otherwise, what do you think they should know about Brad Treliving?
Well, that's a really good question. Um, well, you know what? I think the number one thing I'm curious about. We heard Craig Conroy talk about this when he got hired as the GM of the Flames, and that is kind of what they went through with Goudreau and Kachuk. And what did they learn? You know, what did they learn? And you know, I think that is one of the things that I'm most interested in hearing from Treliving. Because, you know, Toronto, you know, the clock and the calendar means Toronto has some big decisions to make, and they have some big negotiations to have. And so I'm curious to hear from Treliving when he has his announcement, what does he think about that, what he went through last year in Calgary, and how it affects his decision-making this year. Like, I think that, you know, so that's number one. What else is there to know about him? Like, he's a guy who makes a lot of phone calls. There are some GMs who are kind of in every conversation. I think he's one of those guys. Like, some GMs are very private. They only make a call if the call has a point or a purpose. What are you thinking about this?
Yep.
You know, he's the kind of guy who makes calls saying, what's going on out there? What are you hearing out there? And not to reporters, but to other general managers. But you know, I think he's a guy who really tries to keep his pulse on what's happening out there. I think the other thing I really think is that, you know, sometimes people need a change. And I think the way last year went in Calgary, it was a really stressful year. You know, like, I'm 52 now. I've had, in my professional life, which is about 30 years now, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs. So I guess that averages 7.5 years per job. And some have been longer and some have been shorter. And I think that, like, I have incredible admiration for people who can stay in the same job 20 to 30 years. I think that if that is for you and that is the best way for you to live your life, I say, number one, good on you. And number two, I couldn't do that. Sometimes I didn't realize how much you need a change, how much sometimes a change invigorates you, gets your juices flowing again. And I got to think last year, like, for a lot of people in Calgary, they were like, that was such a stressful year. It's time for a new opportunity or a new role. And I think he will be refreshed with this opportunity.